Welcome to the Universal Monsters Podcast, the show whose name I'm shocked did not exist already. I'm your host, Jake, author of The Devil's League and creator of hot quality content, and with me, as always, is the creator and host of Screenplay Archaeology, Pyramid Head, aka Bruce. How you doing?
Hello.
Feels weird calling you Bruce. I've only ever called you Pyramid Head.
Yeah. I've just, it's because when I first started doing the whole internet thing, everybody had a screen name. Nobody used their real name.
Right, yeah.
And that's a relatively recent development I never quite figured out. I never quite got onto it. I just figured, I'm just going to do what I always do. Fuck
just
it.
roll right through. Well, every month, in case you're wondering, my fine co-host and I will break down a bunch of Universal monster news across movies, shows, theme parks, physical media, and anything else regarding these classic monsters. After that, we discuss the topic and the title of the episode. So, are you ready for some news?
Yeah.
Good, because I have some written down. I purposely did not tell you any of it ahead of time so I could,
I think I know most of it.
Odds are. I mean, you might have heard of it in the news cycles, but I really wanted to start with the big thing, which is Universal's Epic Universe. Has that new attraction, I guess it's called the Epic Universe, not the Dark Universe, or whatever they want to call it now.
The park is, because it's like the fourth island of adventure, I guess. They're calling the Epic Universe. Mm-hmm. And part of the park is going to be Dark Universe.
It is calling it Dark Universe. Okay, they're reusing the title. Okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, because they went out of their way to license it. Mm-hmm. Warner Brothers almost considered suing them over it.
Sure, yeah. Well, we definitely don't know enough details yet to go too crazy into like a deep dive or anything, but we have some artwork, we have some concept art, and I looked through that promo video for the whole park, and they had the same three Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman redesigns just played over and over. They're just still images, and they kept reusing them because they had nothing else. So it's the part of the park that they've done the least marketing for so far. But there are two confirmed attractions. We have Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment, which is like a dark ride, and Curse of the Werewolf, which is a spinning roller coaster. And that's all we know so far.
And there's a picture of a castle.
Oh, that's true. That was in there. That was like a CGI thing. Was it
It's a very, very fantasy-looking castle.
I was about to say they're gonna go stylistic.
It looks like maybe it's a leftover from the Harry Potter part.
They built it and they're like, we're gonna do it differently.
I watched that video and they're like, well, we know what fans want, more Harry Potter. And I'm like, dear God, as someone who likes the parks, enough Harry Potter. You got two of them already.
Well, they actually make money nowadays instead of Universal Monsters.
It's sad they tore down Jaws to put in more Potter.
It's tough. But, I was saying they're going stylistic. They're not doing what 2017's Mummy did, which is to make them modern day and update and hip relevant things. They're going for a gothic horror vibe, which I am honestly more interested in anyway, because that's the whole point of the monsters, is that it's a dark fantasy type world. So it's very fun and exciting. Personally, I've never been to Universal. I've been to Disney.
I have. I've been twice.
You've been twice. Okay, that's.
And the second time I went, the Harry Potter exhibit at Islands of Adventures, where they have the Hogwarts. It wasn't open yet.
Mm-hmm.
It was we went because we both went both times on spring break, and that stuff all opened summer.
Okay, yeah. For me, I have always wanted to go, but I feel like I never had opportunities when I was younger, and now that I'm older, I can. But it feels kind of weird. Just I don't really have anybody to necessarily. I don't have kids. I'm not married. Why would I go to Universal?
If we want to do a live episode sometime.
Hell yeah, we'll reconverge there, even though we're both very far from that state.
Yes, we are. But I got family in Florida. I can make an excuse.
No, I don't. I can make an excuse.
No, I mean, I was there. Both times I was there, they still had the Terminator 2 ride.
Ooh, that sounds
which
very
doesn't
exciting.
Exist anymore. They replaced Terminator 2 with Jason Bourne.
Interesting. Doesn't seem like what
years after Bourne was a thing.
Yeah. Did they do that for the Jason Bourne latest movie?
I think it was after.
It's not like that franchise is. Well, I guess Terminator isn't much better. I wanted
to say it was 2018 or 2019, something like that. They did that.
Bourne isn't like a marketable to children. I guess Terminator is. I don't know.
I mean, Jason Bourne wasn't marketable to anybody the last movie.
That's true. That movie blew. That is the worst one of the series.
But I mean, keeping the T2 ride made sense because that's huge. Terminator 2 is still huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's just no one cares about the ones after it.
Exactly. Yeah. with that down, let's go on to the next news topic here. Unless you have more to add to the dark universe.
I just want to say the designs of the three monsters, mixed bag.
I think they look interesting. I think it's noteworthy that the Dracula looks like Van Helsing's Dracula.
His coat makes him look like he's going to show up in Fast and the Furious.
It does. It's a pretty gnarly, radical coat.
And like Wolfman design is okay. I don't know why they gave him like a beard.
They don't know why they gave Kong a beard either, but here we are.
Oh yeah,
everybody's got a beard.
Here we are.
But yeah,
and Frankenstein looks okay.
Mm-hmm. I
don't know why he's shirtless, because
he's
is
badass.
It based on the Aaron Eckhart?
Yeah, they're going for the badass nature of if a guy has no shirt on, he automatically gets like 10% more badass than he was with the shirt on. That's just how that works.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. Let's go. It's time.
Shirtless episode.
Now we'll stay rather unbadass, but we have another piece of movie news here. Movie news. Universal Monster News is really how it works. Universal Monsters has a 4K collection that I believe just released. It's just the first ones and not even all of them.
They did the same thing with Blu-ray.
Yeah, they did Dracula, Frankenstein, not Bride, even though it's considered one of the best of the whole series.
That's weird because the last time around they included Bride in the set.
They did the first, they even did like Phantom, but they also did the Claude Rains Phantom, not the 1920s Phantom. So
they did that with the Blu-ray box set.
They're cherry picking. I don't know what. I guess copyright, right? It's over 100 years old. But
well, the thing is that the launch, they've been like weird. They've been doing that with Phantom for like decades now.
Yeah,
because the classic VHS set, which caused all that kerfluffle on Wikipedia. Included the Rains, but not the Lon Chaney. I think it's because the Lon Chaney one went into public domain.
Yes, that did happen because it's 96 years and it's in reality 99 years, so that had to have happened.
And but I guess even though Universal could do it if they wanted to, they just don't want to.
I mean, anybody could do it. Freaking
yeah. I mean, Kino Lorber put out the Blu-ray, which I actually own.
Interesting. I have no reason to buy this collection. Like, I feel like every time they, like, when Van Helsing released, they released the series of everybody. I think it was in DVD.
That's how I got the DVDs.
Okay, those are DVDs, not Blu-rays. That was 2004. So
yes, they came with Van Helsing swag too.
They did it again in 2012. I want to say. I forget what occasion or if it mattered at all. But then they did it again when the Dark Universe announcement happened, that video. And then they did that on, I think, Blu-ray, but not 4K or vice versa.
No.
And now it's released in 4K, not for celebratory of an occasion. But, I mean, I don't know. When you look at the other ones, I feel like all the other ones that have released over the past, 10, 20 years have more stuff, more interesting stuff, and more films.
Yeah. That's just home video stuff in general now.
But I will say
there's fewer and fewer features.
That's true. Well, in terms of features, I will say on the upside there are a few cool pieces of artwork. There's commentary tracks and whatever else, but I don't know if it's enough to push.
They're probably the same commentary tracks.
They're probably the same ones that exist. Yeah, because you can't get new ones.
The ones that were made for the DVDs.
Yeah, you can't get new ones. They're all dead.
Well, they made two for Creature.
They did.
Yeah, because they did one with the film historian, and then they did another one with Rick Baker and a couple other makeup artists who I guess just wanted to talk about the movie.
Interesting. I mean, I know Rico Browning was the last living Universal monster until I think a couple of years ago. That would be cool if they got him on there, but
that would have been cool.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at it, and I want to go in the other room and find the box.
Well, that's definitely not worth it.
For a future episode, we can bring out our merch.
Hell yeah. Oh, yeah, we got tons. You and I got tons.
You've got a whole-ass Van Helsing drawer.
Listen, it's just for tie-in media.
Even I own a copy of the London assignments.
Yeah, hell yeah, baby. It's on
I wonder how much that goes for now.
Nothing. It's on my private server. I just hit play. But, no,
I have a physical copy.
I won't spend too much longer on this topic because I don't think it's that noteworthy. But it happened and it's really recent, so
it is what it is. I don't know how much benefit 4K is going to be to these movies. Although I will say the Blu-rays look immaculate.
It's hard to say until we see the next 5-10 years. Is it going to be the standard? People have been saying it's going to be the standard for a while. This isn't a Universal Monsters discussion. This is a quality discussion. I think 4K is the kind of thing where it isn't really useful unless your screen is so fucking large that like you need that resolution when you're sitting closer to it. And very, very few households ever have a need for that with your human eyes. So
Yes. Yeah, well, see, my thing is I don't have a 4K TV. I only just got a PS5 for Christmas, which can play 4K discs.
Yep.
And I've been, like, slowly kind of bootstrapping my way to it by, like, occasionally buying a 4K disc for something I really like that comes with a regular Blu-ray.
Sure, that's understandable.
So I've got, like, Superman the movie. I've got Dune, the good one.
Yep.
I got The Green Knight.
Hell yeah. I have
A few others.
I have two giant I'm a size queen. I have a 75-inch in my bedroom, which was my main TV.
We're gonna have to clip that.
Yeah, a size queen in relation to televisions. I have a 75 in my bedroom, which is just a Roku. It's like at the time the cheapest one, but it was.
I've got a Roku, but not the Roku TV.
Oh, okay. I have the Roku native, and I have that. That was my main TV in the living room until I moved to the bedroom because my TV in the bedroom sucked, and I got an 86-inch. I think it's Samsung. It's a super duper boy. It's like I got it at BJ's for like way cheaper than the shelf price, which was awesome.
God, I haven't thought about BJ's since I was a little kid.
Dude, if you or someone you know has a little card, just take it for one day and get $500 off a television. It's gone.
I don't think they exist here.
They don't. Oh, okay, yeah. In Massachusetts, they're like dime a dozen. I don't know why. Where'd you say you moved to? No, I know you were in Texas for a while.
I'm in Arkansas right now.
Arkansas, okay. Right in the middle.
Northwest, where the university is.
Right.
It's this weird developed area because it's where the Walmart head office is. So there's all these like big companies have offices around here.
I guess that makes sense. But all right, 4K collection, I wouldn't get it. That's the point of the whole.
Yeah,
whole
I might get it eventually, but not now.
I have to push myself to get physical media because so much of what I have is digital on servers and stuff like that, whether it's stuff I pay for or not. But
I mean, I just went so long with physical media, I just can't let it go.
Fair enough.
Well, it's one of those things where I might buy it, but I'm not going to buy it if it's just going to be like 6 movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's my point, where it's like, why am I getting this huge collection of restored stuff if it's like one of the Frankensteins? You know, like, I don't care.
And they're going to release the bigger box set down the line anyway, so just don't double dip.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, well, there's 2 pieces of news left, and they're both actually about movies. So me saying movie news incorrectly is now correct.
Yes.
Blumhouse has recast the Wolfman reboot, which came out like a couple weeks ago. I think this news dropped. They swapped out Ryan Gosling for Christopher Abbott. For me, this went from a guy I loved to a guy I had to Google. I had no idea who this guy was.
I knew who he was because I'd seen Possessor.
Okay. Oh, that's the Cronenberg's son movie, right?
Yes, that's really good.
That is a good movie.
Now. Yeah.
I don't remember his face, but he is in that.
Yes, he's the guy who's possessored.
Yes, possessored. Yeah.
And he was also just in Poor Things.
Oh, was he? Was he the evil guy?
He's the husband.
The evil guy or the good husband?
Yes, the evil guy who turns up in the 3rd act.
Oh, wow. Okay, you know what? I retract my statement. I fucking love this guy.
He's hilarious in that movie.
He is. He's one of the best parts, and it's such a great ending. But
I didn't know he was in it, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, okay. Well, I was gonna say this took away my enjoyment, but Poor Things was so good, and he was great in it that like if he brings some similar gravity to that in the Wolfman role, I think it's gonna be big. I'm really excited. Is it still the same director, I wonder, of the Invisible Man 2020?
It's still Lee Winnell.
It's still?
It was Lee Winnell. It was announced, then he left for a while because he left to do Escape from New York. That didn't happen. He left, and then he left that to do Green Hornet, which he's not doing anymore.
Okay.
And now he's back to the Wolfman, and in the middle of that, Gosling brought his The Place Beyond the Pines guy to do it. The guy whose name I can't pronounce.
Right, understandable. Yeah, no, I'm really excited for the Wolfman reboot. I haven't seen a really good werewolf movie in a long time. I like 2010's The Wolfman, which is
fine.
Universal's last one. It's okay, but I've really been craving like a movie like that, but something that delivers more on the werewolf. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And really like the great werewolf parts of that movie are like blink and you'll miss it. You know? Like the scene where that dude is just standing there and he just gets swiped and you got that whoosh. It's like a vortex of wind. Like, oh, that's just cinema. But I want
It
more of
always
that.
bugged me in that movie that he's a werewolf for one night, immediately gets caught. They go to London to do the King Kong thing, and then he immediately goes back home.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of travel. That's some serious Madam Web bullshit. Like, oh, I'm in Peru now.
God, not that.
Well, it's relevant. You brought it up.
I'm sorry, that movie is hilarious.
It is very funny. Audience, you should see Madam Web. It's very funny.
No, let me drive the ambulance. Boom. Mike Epps.
Oh my god, it's so good. But okay, we will not get sidetracked by that.
Monster, no.
I refuse. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited for it, and odds are when it comes out, that'll be the first piece of our topic on that month's episode.
Well, the one thing that's strange about is that apparently the lead actor's not playing the Wolfman.
Yeah, no.
Because supposedly what I read was that the rumored synopsis is that it's about a family that's under attack by a werewolf. And he's like the father. So maybe it's a plot twist that he's the Wolfman.
Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't mind it either way as long as they show us some good werewolf shit. Like, I really don't want it to be, if it's going to be from the family's perspective, I really don't want there to be 5 collective minutes of monster on screen. Mm-hmm. I would really dislike that quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you can get away with that in The Invisible Man because he's invisible.
Exactly. Well, our next piece of news, which is, of course, our last, is also movie news. I just wrote down here, what is Abigail? I follow Universal Monster News pretty closely, and I feel like even this flew completely under my radar until the trailer dropped.
This is weird, because this is Radio Silence, the guys who did Ready or Not, which is really good. Mm-hmm. The new Scream sequels, 5 and 6, which for the most part are good. They've got their flaws.
Yep.
And it was announced a while ago that like their next movie was going to be... It was initially announced as a Dracula's Daughter reboot.
Yep.
And then a while after that, they start making it. And they're saying, oh, we're not calling it that. It's Untitled Universal Monster Movie.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't connect it in my mind that this was that. I thought that was something else.
Yeah, they were the same. They basically said, oh, it's going to be something else. And now it's called Abigail.
Sure. Yeah.
Looks like a good movie. Could be good.
The trailer came out of nowhere for me, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that, like, not that this is connected to either other Dracula adaptation that they've done last year, but
no, it's not.
I feel like it's going to go the way of that box office, and unless it really hits it out of the park, which is totally possible. But
they're aiming for that April release date, like with Renfield.
They sure are, but ever since things have recovered since COVID, release dates are just like they're subjective. You know, they're like a suggestion, like, hey, maybe we'll come out on that day if we're lucky. But
it's like Fox going, we want to get that horror movie money that it got last year, so we're going to release The Predator in September.
Yeah, hilarious, insane. We don't know much about it other than that trailer. All I say is it looks amazing. Giancarlo Esposito, as always, just killing it. So I'm excited for it. But,
yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
We'll see how it turns out. I mean, maybe he'll be Dracula.
Maybe. That sounds even more fun.
Or I did hear a rumor when because there was just like a bunch of actors were cast and didn't say who they were playing.
Right, yeah.
That Dan Stevens would be Dracula, but it doesn't look like he will be from the trailer unless they're going to pull some huge plot twists.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. That would be outstanding. Dan Stevens deserves to be Dracula, first of all. He's just too talented not to be.
Yeah, he's great.
All right.
Instead he's in Godzilla X Kong.
Humans in those movies. Goddamn. But all right, here we are. This is our main topic of the episode. The topic, the title topic, if you will. And I figured, because it's our first episode, and a lot of people might not know who you and I are. Maybe we do. Maybe people from your channel don't. Maybe my channel don't. But what better way to introduce us than to start us off with our favorite and least favorite Universal monster films? So we have collected my top 5 and bottom 5, and I assume you've done the same?
I did not. I didn't know we were doing that.
Oh, I said it in well, I got 5.
I got 5. I can do a 5.
Okay.
I don't know if I can rank them in order, but...
That's fine. It doesn't have to be in a particular order.
Yeah. I know what my bottom 3 would probably be.
That's good enough.
I know my worst.
Okay. Tell you what.
Especially if we're only counting originals.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, I have my bottom three anyway. It's very easy math to do with the five, but yeah, we can do that. So top five and bottom three is how you want to do this.
Yeah, we can do that.
Sure, that sounds perfect.
Go ahead and start. You're the main man.
So let's just start with our best. I feel like worst is going to be funnier. So,
oh, it will be.
You're in no particular order. I am in a particular order. My number 5 is Frankenstein 1931. I think this is an excellent movie. I think this and Bride are like neck and neck. For context, audience, if I had a sixth spot, it would be Bride. I think Frankenstein and Bride are like right next to each other. But like the thing that edges out Frankenstein just a little bit is that the Bride isn't in her own movie enough. She's only at like the very end for like 30 seconds, and I really wanted more from that. So for me, Frankenstein, that classic film is less. It's just it holds up so well, and I only have fond memories of it. I have no criticism.
Yeah, I have no notes. It's great.
So what's one of your 5?
One of my 5. I'm going to throw The Invisible Man out there, the original.
Okay, all right, that's understandable.
It totally works because the main character is well developed, in that he's a character who basically drove himself insane.
Yeah, that's
true.
He's
kind of sympathetic in the situation he's in. He's also a hilarious asshole. The pranks he pulls, it's a really good comedy.
It is. It's pretty nice.
It's intentional too. Like it was James Whale just going, let's fuck around.
I appreciate the desire to fuck around. I feel like a lot of movies in that time period pulled their punches, and this one didn't.
And one thing I always find funny about the movie, it's not supposed to be funny. You think the cliche of car goes over the cliff and explodes for no reason. You think that's like an 80s thing. This car goes over the cliff, it blows up like 3 times.
It does. It certainly does. But yeah, no, Invisible Man is it's not on my top 5. Well, that one isn't, but we'll get to there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But also the effects hold up incredibly well.
Yes, they're so good.
For a 1930s movie, like there's a couple of ropey scenes, like whenever he turns his head, like his collar disappears. But like, other than that, and like a couple other shots where the outline's very obvious, it's like, how'd they do that? It's like, they just went frame by frame.
Straight up frame by frame and did all of the hard work. The Invisible Man, when he takes off his thing for the first time, that's, it's just like mind-blowing to watch. It's just awesome.
And the guy who did the special photographic effects, as they were called, I don't think he actually gets an on-screen credit until Invisible Agent. And then I don't think he gets one for the ones after that, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. That's interesting. I know mostly the gowns Vera West. I don't know much about the effects.
You guys got fascinated with her for some reason.
Well, she showed up every single time. No one else does. But yeah.
She could be this like a segment of an episode, because what happened to her is really interesting.
Yes, she should be her own topic. That's a great idea. I'm going to put that on the list. But all right, my number 4 is Creature from the Black Lagoon, that classic first one. I love almost every aspect of this movie. The creature effects, they have like 2 different suits because they have the swimming guy and the on-land guy, and both are just spectacular, and the acting is solid. The only thing that holds it back from being even higher on the list is I think the horn of like is a little corny sometimes. It's used in places it probably shouldn't, but other than that, it's just a great watch. And like Frankenstein, it holds up. You can watch it today. And Creature's one of my favorites. So, if you've read The Devil's League, you know that.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
But yeah.
You even made it from a lagoon.
You're damn fucking right I did.
You were towing that copyright line.
I know. Dancing on it. Just dancing. Sue me, bitch.
You're like Homer jumping over the line in Australia.
You did. Dipping my toes in, baby. But hey, if Monster Squad got like way closer than I did, all right, I don't want to hear shit about my book.
Oh, they clearly called him the Gill Man.
Yeah, literally. So, but yeah, what is a 4th one of yours?
My 4th will be The Mummy, the original.
Okay. Yeah, Boris Karloff.
Because it's not like any of the others. It's this very moody. It's almost like something A24 would make today. And just the fact that it's all mood and eeriness and just creepiness. And every time he's on screen, he just commands it.
Yes.
Like, you believe people are like frightened of this guy.
Yeah.
And just little creepy details, like how like in the one scene after he wakes up the first time, he left like a dusty handprint behind.
Yeah, the little details.
Yeah, and like and just the fact that it's like he's just like he can do that. He can heart attack with his hand.
Yes, the heart attack powers. Oh my god. I wish any other version of the Mummy had those powers.
Or at least anything.
Or anything besides slowly walking towards you.
A little bit more speed, which they did give him in the Christopher Lee version. He has a big ass pool of water on the floor they use as like a TV. How's that not cool?
Yeah, I know. I love that thing. That was so cool. That portal looking thing.
Yeah, and then you see it so much in the sequels.
Yeah, literally never. But yeah, I think Boris Karloff makes that movie. Like if you get a lesser actor in that role, that movie is not nearly as watchable as it is. But he's the one who's like carrying it. But yeah. Well, that's an excellent pick. Let me counter with my own. I would say 1931's Dracula has to be mine. It is my second favorite classic Dracula film behind Nosferatu, because how do you beat Nosferatu? The only problem I have with it is that it feels very like a play, like very, very stage actory, because we're still in that era of film where film hasn't found its own cinematic voice yet. It's still just filming a play. But other than that, it is so hard-hitting. It is great. There are excellent dialogue scenes. My favorite part about it is probably the part where Van Helsing and Dracula just talk in that room, and it escalates and escalates, and then he pulls out the cross. That is just, it's just juicy dialogue. Like, way too well written for a film in this series, in the freaking Universal Monster series, where it's just campy and goofy all the time. Like, this really hits. So
that gave me
that's
this is giving me an idea for an episode.
Oh no.
Get you to react to the Spanish version of Dracula.
Oh god. That actually sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch because it's the same shooting script, the same sets, but different actors and like different scenes because they didn't cut as much out.
It's got to be like one of the only times it's actually happened.
Universal only did it like 2 or 3 times. It was because nobody knew what sound was. 3. No one really knew how to do sound tech at that point, and so dubbing was like a foreign idea.
Sure. Fair enough. But all right. Here we are. So what is your third of them?
My number 3 is going to be Creature from the Black Lagoon. This might have been the first one I've seen. I had it taped off the Sci-Fi Channel as a kid. This and the second one.
Fair enough.
Second one is not top 10 material.
No, definitely not. But it's pretty good.
It's still pretty good. No, it's just such a well-executed monster movie. The creature is awesome. The costume holds up. There's some shots of him that are actually kind of scary. I like the score. They do lean on the horns a little too much at times, where it's like, okay, you've played it 3 times in a row. Chill.
Yeah, relax.
Or we're going to play it over the exact same shot of the creature's hand coming out of the water 3 times.
Exactly.
It's interesting how it's like the one from the 50s that has that staying power. Because there's so many Universal horror movies from the 50s that no one really thinks about anymore.
You're bringing this up because you wrote that down as one of our topics.
Yes, I did. But it's like there's so much shit Universal did in the 50s. Like you had the Creature movies, you had like Tarantula, the Deadly Mantis.
Yeah. Was the Mole Men one of them?
Yes, the Mole Men. This Island Earth, which isn't really a horror movie, it's like a sci-fi movie. Which is where the Metaluna mutant comes from.
Which is considered roughly as one of them, but is and isn't.
I only knew it was one of them because it was in the freaking action figure set they were putting out at the time.
Yep.
And then you watch the movie, it's like, oh, it's in the movie for like 2 minutes at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not about the mutant at all. And then you have like Monster on the Campus, which is like dude nicks his hand on a prehistoric fish's corpse that was stored in like a radioactive thing, and he starts reverting into a caveman.
It sounds like you're making this up, but I believe it.
No, it's a real movie because like you had Jack Arnold who did a lot of these movies, and they were usually pretty good because he did the first Creature, and then he did that, and it killed his career.
Naturally, yeah. Oh man. Oh, Nonsense on the Campus. I would love to just not even commentate on that, just like put that on and just like react and just like because like I'm sure it's gonna be an hour and 10 minutes of strange, and that is right up my alley.
He becomes a caveman for the movie.
He sure does. That sounds accurate.
But no, Creature, back on topic, Creature's really great. No notes.
No notes, just amazing. My number 2 is a film that is right above my head. It's Van Helsing from 2004. Now, I know what a lot of people who aren't familiar with you or I are thinking. What is this guy smoking? This guy's crazy.
I think that to a degree, but
Van Helsing for me is a passion of mine. It is one of the movies that got me into Universal Monsters. It's one of the reasons why I was even interested in going back and watching all of those old movies anyway. It is what a lot of people consider Brendan Fraser's The Mummy. Van Helsing is for me. Like, this is my super fun, campy, growing up movie. It's just awesome. It's got excellent dialogue. It's got really fun action that's really satisfying. I have a video essay on the channel, which I can definitely link below in case you guys want more of an argument for why Van Helsing is awesome. But I will just say, for me, I don't know why this movie didn't hit with audiences. I do. I get it. You know, it didn't hit the right energy with what the audiences were expecting. Totally fine.
Well,
but
what else came out in May of 2004 might be another answer to it.
Potentially something way better. Even
it might be Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man. That's exactly what it is. Spider-Man 2, the train scene. So, you know, if you watch these back to back, you go, wow, all right, fair. But I don't know. I love both. Those are like two of some of my favorite movies growing up. So, yeah.
Van Helsing, I loved when it came out, and it's one of those movies where it's like, I can still watch it, but I start noticing more stuff about it.
Listen, stop watching it. That way you don't know us stuff. It's great.
Shush. Yeah, and then it's really funny how apparently they wrote all these tie-ins and nobody was like talking to each other.
Oh yeah?
Like the London assignment has like continuity problems with the movie, and the novelization doesn't acknowledge the London assignment, and then you have that weird tie-in comic that doesn't connect to anything.
Yes, yeah, the tie-in comic is like a joke.
Doesn't even have a Universal monster in it.
No, it doesn't.
We could talk about that in
yeah, episode. That's its own special. We could do an episode just about Van Helsing tie-ins, but that's neither here nor there. You're absolutely right.
I played the PS2 game.
Well, as I've waxed poetic about how great Van Helsing is, what is your one of them?
My number 2?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Once you get past that awful opening scene with the Shelleys and Lord Byron, they're like, blah, 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 we're the play. We're British. It gets much better.
I don't know, like, did audiences like that at the time? That was very strange for me.
The reason it took so long to do a Frankenstein sequel is because they wanted James Whale to come back and direct. And he didn't want to do it. And he finally said, I have to do it the way I want to do it. It has to be all me. It has to be my creative control. And one of the things he wanted was an intro with Mary Shelley.
Sure, yeah.
And it's like, but let's recap the first movie and put footage that did not exist.
Did not, no. And his back, like, objectively snapped in half. And he's fine.
Yeah, well, they retconned that at the end of the first movie.
They do.
Which is that scene where it's very obviously a different actor in the back. Who has, like, his hair's like this.
Exactly. Very fun stuff. But yeah, no, I love Bride. Obviously, it's my number 6. Great. If I had it on the list, it's barely not there, but it's so good. Fucking love Bride so much.
No, it's great. It's a great sort of expansion of the characters. It gives them some more depth. The monster gets given some more sympathy to him than he was in the first one. And that whole sequence with the blind man, it's one of the best.
Yes, yeah, it furthers the themes of Frankenstein 1931. It goes deeper into it, which I really appreciate. Mm-hmm. And not a lot of sequels, especially in this series, live up to that, you know?
And you get Dr. Pretorius, who's this great additional character.
He is, and he's now become his own classic character in that right, which is just so cool.
We're going to get another movie with him.
Yeah, Del Toro's version?
Yes, Del Toro's, and I'm guessing that's who Christoph Waltz is playing.
Probably. It feels a lot like him. Mm-hmm. Good casting on that part. But yeah.
Wait for the cream.
So Bride is obviously awesome. Yes. And I totally respect that it is your number 2. But I gotta say, my number 1 is a film, much like Van Helsing, that was not made in the prime era of Universal monster movies. It is from 2020. It is The Invisible Man. I think this is... I've really sat with this movie a long time. I've watched it many times since for various reasons. I watched it in theaters. I thought it was like a 9 out of 10. And then I watched it again, and I watched it again. And we did a commentary for the channel. We've done reviews. We've done whatever. And The Invisible Man, to me, I have no criticism. It's just brilliant. Elizabeth Moss's performance.
Oh, it's great.
It's just such a character-driven performance with excellent thematic work going on. And I'm shocked she wasn't even at least nominated for an Oscar that year. She should have been just for that movie. But obviously COVID,
You see, I think the Academy cheated and put some 2021 movies in there because they wouldn't have to give it to movies like that.
I know. Well, then again, like movies like Birds of Prey and Sonic would have just won if they cut that off there. Because
like when COVID hit, it was like the only obvious choices for best movie were like Bad Boys for Life and Invisible Man.
Exactly. And honestly, that is a nice 2-horse race, really 1-horse race. But Invisible Man is so, in my opinion, overlooked. It made some decent money, but obviously it was right before COVID became a pandemic, so the box office got cut off really short.
It was the last thing I saw, I think.
It was a lot of people's last thing they saw. I think
because I didn't bother with Bloodshot.
I watched Onward. Oh no, I'd watched Bloodshot last. The last thing I watched was Bloodshot.
I remember that video.
It was the very last thing. And the first thing I watched was Unhinged, day one that theaters opened up again. But Invisible Man was not far behind that. It was so good. And yeah, the performances all around are great. The villain, the scenes where you do see him are sinister and creepy and terrifying. And all the supporting cast is great. Great written characters. They have just enough to do where you don't feel like they're superfluous, like they're part of the story. And I appreciate this more and more as time goes on. So yeah, it's my favorite Universal Monster film. What can I say? And it just came out.
My brain, when I go Universal Monsters, it cycles through all the originals and then comes back around.
Okay, well then that means that there's one special original that you've purposely set aside for
my number one right now would probably be Frankenstein.
Hey!
I admit in so many ways, Bride of Frankenstein is like the superior experience and the better movie, but there's just something about that first movie and the way it's put together, and the makeup is different in that one because he didn't have to talk, so they literally took like his dental workout. It's just something about it just comes together, even though it has all the roughness of that early sound era where they're like still doing like the silent movie fades.
Yep. Yeah. A little bit.
And you can almost see where you could insert the title card in a couple scene changes.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, Frankenstein 1931, obviously I agree with you. I have it above Bride as well. It's so freaking good. The performances and interaction between Frankenstein the Doctor and Fritz, I think those two are really... I think it's really like a classic duo. It's the generator of the Igor trope, even though it's not Igor, which I think is kind of fun.
It's so weird how that happened. We can make that a segment later.
That's its own topic.
Because I have theories as to why that happened. But
interesting. Okay. But yeah, no, it's a special movie in my heart. So yeah, it's absolutely worthy of the praise and status as a classic and one of the best of the series. So yeah.
I mean, obviously, the best is Igor with John Cusack.
Yeah, of course. Why would anyone dispute that?
But Victor Frankenstein.
Naturally. Oh, Victor Frankenstein by Max Landis is really the one.
Yes.
But yeah, no. So let's get into our worst ones. Now, you said 3?
Oh God. Yeah, let's just do 3.
Let's stick with 3.
If it's because just doing it off the cuff, if it's 5, it's going to be like a whole series probably.
Well, I will say, of my bottom 3, only 1 is a Mummy film. But
okay, good.
Now that I'm not doing 4 and 5 were both Mummy films. So to disclose that. So I guess
so you could start.
Since I'm spoiling it, I'll start and say my number 3, as in the third worst one of the whole series, is The Mummy's Hand. And I'm going to immediately pass it off to you because I don't remember shit about this movie. But I hated it.
It's better than the later ones because it has the most new.
Well, I disagree because it's on my list and I can't justify why. Go watch our commentary, and by our I mean me and Ian's commentary, to tell you why, because I refuse to revisit that film.
My number 3, and this is probably not fair because this is a movie I barely remember too, is The Invisible Ray.
I didn't see this. It wasn't part of the series.
It's a miscellaneous Karloff and Lugosi team-up movie.
Interesting.
Where, like, Karloff is this he's like an absent-minded professor type who's, like, neglects his super hot wife because he's, like, really into his science. And Lugosi is, like, the good guy scientist in the movie, which is really weird to think about.
Yep, that is weird.
And they go to Africa to look for, like, this meteor that crashed or something. And he gets irradiated, and everything he touches dies. Irradiated. Karloff becomes, like, the monster, and there's this... The romantic subplot in the movie is really fucking weird because this reporter goes along on the expedition and just immediately starts going after the wife. Like, not even subtle about, like, he talks to her once, she goes like, oh, we married out of convenience for money, and he's like, Bone Town.
Yeah, naturally. That's how it goes.
And, like, and this guy's barely even a character in the movie, too.
Mr. Celia girl.
And I think, like, the twist ending is that, like, his mother is the one who has to kill him or something like that.
Well, great. Now it's ruined.
Or I know his mother is involved, but I can't remember how. But it's just the most interesting thing about it is that Lugosi gets to be the good guy, because even in, like, their other team-ups where he's, like, quote, more heroic, like in The Black Cat, he's still, like, a crazy asshole.
That sounds very let downable. Very disappointing is the actual grammatical word to use in that context. I think we're going to do, because I obviously haven't seen all of the Karloff Lugosi team-ups, we're going to do an episode on just them. There's like 8 of them?
Yes, there's 4 or 5.
4 or 5? That's easier.
Because if we count, are we just counting the Universal ones?
Made by Universal, I think. Well,
because there's only one I know of that's not Universal.
Then fuck it, we'll throw that in there too. But
because there's it's Black Cat, Raven, Invisible Ray,
Tower of London.
No, I don't think Lugosi's in Tower of London.
Okay, makes me angry that Universal made so many Frankenstein movies, so many Dracula movies, and so many Karloff Lugosi movies, and so many movies with both of those guys, but never a movie where they played Dracula and Frankenstein together.
Or even a Dracula Frankenstein movie.
That would have been better too. But whatever, it's fine. It's fine.
Instead we got Dracula's there for 20 minutes, and then it's Wolfman and the monster in separate scenes.
Yay! Everyone's favorite thing they always do. But yeah. Anyway,
that movie's just—it's a movie that I only thought about because I put that subject in our potential episode list.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, yeah, Invisible Ray, that movie kind of sucked, didn't it?
Sure did. Allegedly. My number 2 worst is Abbott and Costello Meet the Killer, Boris Karloff.
Okay, I have not seen this one. I've seen the last couple minutes on TV, and I went, wait a minute, Boris Karloff's not the killer? Bullshit.
Not even. Yeah, the title is not only misleading, it probably holds a record for the most actors in a title for a film. There's 3, which is hilarious. But it is so it already wasn't a good idea to make this movie. The premise didn't even have like hope or anything interesting, but man, if a movie that couldn't let you down still let you down, this would be that movie. Like, it's even worse. There's like a scene where like they tie a piano to a string and string it up over a doorway like a cartoon, and the Costello gets mind controlled by Boris Karloff, even though he's just a guy. I can't even describe. Like, it sounds like movie 43. All the scenes I'm bringing up.
Isn't this the one with the guy in the bear costume?
No.
No? Because I know there's one of your videos. There's like, it's a guy in a bear suit. And like, no, that's
I know
an
what that is.
bear.
That's one of the Edgar Allan Poe stories. It's one of the earlier ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's like
there's Murders in the Rue Morgue has the monkey in it, where it cuts between a real monkey and the suit.
Is that what you're thinking of? Because it's not Abbott and Costello Meet the Killer, Boris Karloff.
No, I'm thinking of a bear. There's like a guy in a bear suit in one of them, I think.
Probably not Killer Boris Karloff, but I will never watch this movie again to find out. I'll put
watch
it that
your
way.
video.
That is slightly better.
Be like Ian and watch your own shit.
Yeah, it's true. He watches everything. But yeah, what is your second worst one?
Second worst one, I'm going to go for The Mummy's Tomb.
Okay.
This is the second of the Karius movies, and this is the one where, like, this is barely over an hour long.
Mm-hmm.
Like 25 minutes of it is just recapping the previous movie, part of which is reusing footage from the original movie.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. This is like, because it was coming off of the first one, this is the big letdown of the series.
This is the one that comes. The Mummy's Hand came first, and then this one is like a quarter of the movie is footage from the Mummy's Hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh my god! And I liked this one when I was a kid. I had the tape and I watched it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Watching it now, it's like, dear God, this movie sucks. Because it's like a lame slasher movie from the 80s without any of the charm.
Mm-hmm.
There's no gore. It's just a mummy going,
These movies are all so short, these old Universal Monster movies, that like I've seen a lot of them more than once, but I take pride in the fact that I have not revisited the Mummy sequels.
Oh god. I only revisited them because it'd been forever since I'd seen them, and I bought the Blu-ray set of all the movies. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I might as well just see how they hold up. No, they don't.
They do not.
Because I remember thinking, because I can sit through The Mummy's Hand. I don't mind that one too much. But I'm like, okay, I remember thinking Mummy's Tomb and Mummy's Ghosts were okay, and then the one in Louisiana was shitty. Oh god, Tomb is worse.
Yeah, right. All right, well, my number one is not a Mummy sequel, which would shock everybody involved, but yes. I think there's a chance it's your number one. It is She-Wolf of London.
Oh, I'm gonna have to reconvene my list because that would be that would be on there if I had remembered it.
Well, it's pretty forgettable, but what's memorable about it is the fact that there isn't a werewolf in it.
Yes! That video, you guys just talk about random shit.
Well, there's nothing to talk about. It's like trying to be a mystery with like two ladies, like one's old, one's younger, and she's getting like not very well written gaslit about it. And the twist is that there isn't a werewolf. And the comparison I made was, imagine if you went to like an Iron Man movie and you watched it the whole time. Tony Stark and Iron Man neither are in it, or neither personality, neither persona is in it, and then the end twist is that they never existed. You would burn the theater to the ground if that happened. That is the equivalent as a Wolfman movie or She-Wolf movie in this series as part of it. It's coming out in this time period. It's part of the Wolfman. It's on the freaking Legacy Collection with Van Helsing. Like, it's part of the series, and it's not even its own movie that it says it is or tries to be it anyway.
I can tell you why they put it in the Legacy Collection originally.
Because they needed more stuff?
Yeah, because there would only have been 3 movies, because they didn't do repeat copies like they did with the Blu-rays.
Oh, they didn't. You're right. You're so right.
Yeah, because on the DVDs it was Wolfman, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, which was not in the Frankenstein set at all.
Weird.
Werewolf of London and She-Wolf of London. Now, I'm not a huge Werewolf of London guy, but that at least has something in it.
That's a good point.
She-Wolf is terrible.
She-Wolf is the worst of the whole series. I think I hate it more than The Mummy 2017. I hate it more than Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, which is also on the list. But no, this is it. This is like the crown jewel. But disregarding that because you said you forgot about it, what do you think your number one is?
I will say there is one kind of semi-interesting thing about She-Wolf of London, and that's that the main character went on to play the mom on Leave It to Beaver.
Okay.
But other than that, it's like... And it's kind of funny that her house is the same model shot as the house from the first Wolfman.
Okay, yep.
But the first one, this is the one that leapt in my mind for worst, is The Invisible Woman.
Ooh.
It's a comedy that is funny maybe twice.
Yeah, you're very right. That is a bad film. That is a really bad film.
Like, and what kills me about it is that I'm a big Three Stooges fan.
Mm-hmm.
Shemp Howard is in this movie and has nothing to do. I mean, obviously it's not in continuity. That's not even worth discussing.
Right.
But, like, the logic of the machine is weird because if you take the injection first, you turn invisible. And if you don't, you talk like this.
Yeah, and if you get drunk, you're visible. And that's another reason it's not canon. But the other part of that really got me, why that movie is so bad, one of the many reasons, is that Every other movie in the Invisible Man series it's not like super serious, but it's at least like grounded or trying to be like a real drama to some extent. And they take it in different genres. They go a little their own routes, like the first
movie is a much better comedy than this.
It's a campy horror-ish movie. The second one's like a drama, love story, whatever. You want to go down that road, you can pick them all apart. But they all have that similarity of being like a serious-ish film. And this is a screwball comedy because it's a woman. And writers in Hollywood went, oh, well, we're starring a woman, therefore we have to make it this fucking joke, terrible bullshit. And she works at a clothing factory because all women are good for is clothing or whatever. Like, all the sexism just bleeds through on the screen. And it's just really, it's frustrating.
And it doesn't help that every other joke is, haha, she's naked.
Yeah, that's so much of the writing too. It's like, hee, we have a woman, ooh, pretty. Like, there's no substance.
The friggin' Chevy Chase Invisible Man movie, which isn't very good, is probably more tolerable than this.
Chevy Chase.
And that's a movie where he was deliberately bombing the comedy because he didn't want to make a comedy.
That is understandable.
The movie that broke John Carpenter. But that one actually has really good effects because they actually show him eating in it and going into his stomach.
Yes, that's true. And that is an excellent part of that. That is really good.
But yeah, no. Invisible Woman, I don't even know why they made this. It's so funny is that H.G. Wells was alive.
Yeah.
At this time. And he kept re-upping the license.
He's like, I'm going to get paid for this. No matter how bad the movie is, I want the royalties to keep flowing.
Yeah, he re-upped. He made a new 2-picture deal after Invisible Agent, and then they just sat on it. They made Invisible Man's Revenge, sat on it for years, took the other script and turned it into an Abbott and Costello movie. It's one of the weirder series just because of it's just there.
Yeah, it has no place.
Whereas the Mummy is like, this is this dumb piece of shit we're gonna make money off of because people will go see Mummy movies.
Yeah, it's not like it has no place in the series, but is also like a hidden gem. It just shouldn't even exist. Like, it's just bad.
Like, they had ideas for 2, maybe 3 movies if you're being generous and giving any credit at all to Invisible Agent.
It's a cool concept,
It's a cool concept, and it kind of returns to the original continuity. We can go down that road later.
That's its own subject, is the Invisible Man continuity.
Continuity in general is going to have to be an episode.
Oh, absolutely. We'll get there one day. But yeah, all right. Well, that just about does it. We have shared our 5 best and 3 worst of the Universal Monsters series, including, of course, all the remakes and stuff like that. And man, there are some contenders. There are some real contenders for those top spots, but they finally got what they deserve.
Some real brandos.
Real big brandos. Well, that'll just about do it for episode 1 of this show. I had a great time.
Yeah, I did. Aside from the technical issues and me looking like an idiot there.
Yeah, well, now you don't look like anything at all, so you're totally fine. But yeah, no, in any case.
Sounding like an idiot because I didn't prep.
Exactly. That's okay. Next time, we'll have a month of prep between episodes, so there's really no issue there.
I literally started my new work schedule on Thursdays.
That's fair. I don't blame you. But yeah. All right. Well, we'll catch you guys next time for even more Universal Monster news and a topic that we will not spoil ahead of time. But I have my
hopefully I know the topic ahead of time.
Yeah, that's a good point. I will end the call and then immediately tell you the topic for next time. So,
okay.
See ya.
See ya.